This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Now at 11, we are wrapping up a cold stretch as we end the month of February. It is a quiet night now across central Indiana, and today we saw a lot of sunshine, but tonight temperatures are still in the 20s across central Indiana. Thanks for staying up late with us. I'm Nicole Griffin in the tracking center with meteorologist Kyle Mounts. And Kyle, we have just under an hour left of February as we end this leap day, and you have some good news for everyone as we start the month of March.
Yeah, things are going to turn to the warmer side here as we go into the new month, because it has been a cold stretch for us. Just looking back here, since the middle of the week, we've had those highs only in the 30s, and by the most part there, that's 10 degrees below average. But things are going to look a whole lot different here as we go through the next couple of days. It's still chilly out there tonight. We're at 28, but the south wind is going to be key, now turning out of that warmer direction. So temperatures are not going to really fall off too far from where they are, sitting in the middle to upper 20s. Still got 30 degrees for you in Martinsville, 24 though in Bloomington, as we have high pressure in control. You can see the clouds off to the west. Those will increase as we go through the day tomorrow, but tomorrow morning we are going to start off with sunshine, and look at that temperature climb already in the 40s by 11 a.m.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Now to the latest on the coronavirus, the disease turning deadly in the United States after a person in Washington state died after contracting the virus. President Trump now has a warning about traveling overseas, plus the precautions you can take if you visited those affected areas and you feel you are coming down with symptoms. ABC's Andrea Fugii has more now from New York.
President Trump authorizing the highest level travel advisory and adding more travel restrictions to specific regions in Italy and South Korea.
We are urging Americans to not travel to the areas in Italy and the areas in South Korea that are most affected by the coronavirus.
This after Washington state confirmed a person with coronavirus has died. The man in his 50s with underlying health issues is the first virus-related death in the U.S.
At this point, we do not have widespread community-wide transmission locally. We have transmission that's associated with an outbreak at this long-term care facility.
This as more coronavirus cases emerge on the West Coast, and more countries are announcing their first cases, all raising concerns of a potential pandemic. The CDC now permitting states to do their own virus testing. The goal is to have every state and local health department up and running by next week with testing kits. And the FDA will now allow accredited labs to conduct the tests. Tests that come back positive will then go to CDC headquarters in Atlanta for confirmation. Meanwhile, more people who contracted COVID-19 without being in contact with those who are sick or traveling are popping up. And if you've returned from one of those affected countries and have symptoms like a fever or shortness of breath,
absolutely go to an emergency room. If they develop more mild symptoms, you want to check in with your healthcare provider. If you don't have a healthcare provider, then you want to call either your local hospital emergency room or your local Department of Public Health.
While most cases appear to be mild, states are doing what they can to contain the virus. And as more testing kits become available, the number of diagnosed cases are likely to go up. Andrea Fugii, ABC News, New York.
Andrea, thank you. In light of the coronavirus outbreak, Indiana University is banning all travel to any country the CDC has identified with a level 3 travel advisory. Today, they added Italy to the list, which already includes China, South Korea, and Iran. The ban applies to all faculty, staff, and employees. IU will grant exceptions for humanitarian reasons to those traveling to these countries to assist with pandemic response. Anyone traveling to a CDC designated level 3 country will be required to self-quarantine off campus for a period of 14 days before returning to the university. Tonight, a group that advocates for college athletes is calling on the NCAA to act now and have a serious discussion about protecting college athletes amid the coronavirus outbreak. The National College Players Association says precautions need to be taken now. They are recommending the NCAA cancel all events that put players in contact with crowds, like meet and greets and press events. They also say in regards to the NCAA March Madness tournament, they should seriously consider holding holding games without an audience. The Midwest Regional Round of the NCAA March Madness Tournament is scheduled for March 26th and March 28th at Lucas Oil Stadium here in Indy. Well, we talked to fans tonight ahead of the Butler game who are now reacting to these recommendations.
I know that Indy is for sure a place that people come to watch games and everything, so I think that people will be upset.
I have tickets for the site in Cleveland, so looking forward to it. Family got it for my birthday, for my 50th birthday present, so my son's coming home from college for spring break. We're looking forward to it, so hope we still play. You know, I think people will probably understand at the end of the day, if they're going to do it, they're not going to do it. They're not going to make the decision without really thinking it through. So at the end of the day, fans are going to be disappointed, but if that's what it does, you know, it takes to contain the virus, then it has to happen.
And the NCAA has not responded directly to this call to action, but on their website, they do have a page for coronavirus resources that states the following. NCAA staff members will work in conjunction with host schools, conference offices, and community partners to monitor the coronavirus through the NCAA Sports Science Institute. As they would when confronting any public health crisis, championship staff will add appropriate safeguards in coordination with campus and local health response teams to address concerns about the virus. The Marion County coroner has identified the victim in a Westside homicide. Police found 32-year-old Robert Larry Owens dead in an alley on Pruitt Street yesterday afternoon around 4 o'clock. He's described as having trauma to his body, but the coroner has not released an autopsy report. No arrests have been made in this case. A local organization is joining the fight against bullying and suicide prevention. Tonight, we're learning about a summit put on today by Sisters Standing Together and Real Men that is aiming to save lives. Troy Washington is working for you to show how this purpose of this organization ties into a much bigger picture.
Parents making a pact and pledging to stick to their words. The message here today: parents, listen to your children, get to know them, know what's going on with them, and children, hold your parents accountable for that promise. In fact, Callie Sanders says Sisters Standing Together and Real Men started as a promise and has evolved into a vow to be the change she wants to see in the world.
I had one son that was murdered because he was praying by a car. And at his funeral, I promised him I would do everything in my life till God called me home to make a difference in this city. And that's why I do what I do.
2 decades after her son's murder, she's not losing any steam. In fact, she's more determined than ever to take on bullying and preventing suicide.
We talked about bullying, we talked about suicide, we talked about abuse, we talked about trafficking, we talked about things that are actually a part of bullying, which is domestic violence.
During Saturday's summit, speakers gave hope and light by sharing how their darkest moment didn't overtake them.
We brought people that could actually speak as a testimony how they made it through. Our purpose for the day is to save lives.
And the summit didn't shy away from the tough questions. People raised their hands in the crowd admitting they too have been bullied before, may have even considered suicide at one point.
We ask all those that's been bullied to hold up your hand, or if you contemplated suicide, hold up your hand.
With each hand that went into the air, those struggling and persevering are reminded they aren't in the fight alone. Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
Troy, thank you. The summit also served as a brainstorming session to come up with reasonable solutions that can be implemented throughout the city. With 2 major events coming to the Circle City next month, Indiana State Police are aiming to keep people safe. Law enforcement agencies say St. Patrick's Day and the NCAA tournament are 2 of the heaviest drinking events of the entire year. That's why more officers will be on the roads beginning tomorrow looking for drunk drivers. The increased patrols will be part of a month-long Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign. Officers will also be conducting multiple random sobriety checkpoints. New at 11, Butler Blue the 4th is a step closer to becoming Butler University's official mascot. Before tonight's sold-out game against DePaul at Hinkle Fieldhouse, a changing of the collar ceremony took place between Butler Blue the 3rd, better known as Tripp, and the incoming mascot Blue the 4th. Blue the 4th will officially take over following Tripp's retirement ceremony at Butler's commencement on May 9th. During the ceremony tonight, Butler's president took the custom collar created by Reese Nichols Jewelers from Tripp and placed it around the neck of Blue the 4th. Well, we talked to Blue the 3rd's handler tonight, who says this is a bittersweet moment. He's led the mascot program for 16 years.
To honor the dogs and to provide a little bit of a show for our fans, and I think they appreciate it, and it's just fun to do. It's something I dreamed up a handful of years ago. We did our first one with Blue the 2nd, Blue the 3rd, and now to do it again, and not just do it again, but then for me to ceremoniously also be handing the leash off to Evan means a lot.
I felt like a dad for Blue. When we debuted him, it was still really new to me. I'd only had him for a few days, and so it was a great moment when we debuted him. But now for the last really 7 weeks, I've had this dog training him for this moment, and he went out there and killed it. And I have no doubt that he's going to be a phenomenal mascot. And so to see him out there and for him to get the official collar and the nod to go ahead, I was just overall really proud.
Wednesday is Butler's last home game of the season, and the last time Blue the 3rd and his handler Michael Kaltenmark will run out with the team. He says that is when it will hit him that this is the end of the journey. Butler did get the win tonight against DePaul, 60-42. This marks the Bulldogs' 20th win of the season. Happening right now, a bit of a different scene than we typically see at the Children's Museum. Tonight, the adults are taking over. The museum hosted a party for grown-ups who are truly kids at their heart. Museum by Moonlight is a Leap Day celebration for adults 21 and over. From 8 p.m. until midnight, they got to explore all 5 floors of the museum. They got to enjoy music and dancing, and there was a science of alcohol session hosted by Sun King and Hotel Tango. There was even a TED Talk with a twist hosted by comedians. And of course, there was food and drinks served from local restaurants.
We host it in February because it's the dark days of winter, right? So you want to come in, you want to play, and then also all the proceeds from this event benefit the Children's Museum Fund, which ensures that all children and families, regardless of income, can visit the Children's Museum and experience the magic of this place every day.
The event was completely sold out for the 5th year in a row, and leaders say next year the event will be held once again. For weeks, Joe Biden has hinged his hopes on South Carolina, granting him a comeback, and tonight it looks like he was right. Coming up, the results from a pivotal primary and the candidate who's now dropping out of the race. Kyle.
We are enjoying a dry weekend, but we're not going to be able to hold that rain off for very long. We'll talk about when it returns and how much to expect. You're watching RTV6 News at 11.
Silverado 1500 pickups. This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
The South Carolina primary is in the books, and former Vice President Joe Biden has a decisive victory. It's Biden's first win as a presidential candidate as his campaign attempts to right the ship after a disappointing start. And the win could reset the race heading into Super Tuesday. ABC's Trevor Ault has the wrap-up from Columbia.
Former Vice President Joe Biden has touted his position in South Carolina since the launch of his campaign, and Saturday he proved it.
Just days ago, the press and the pundits had declared this candidacy dead. Now, thanks to all of you, the heart of the Democratic Party, we just won, and we've won big because of you.
Biden's commanding victory coming in large part from overwhelming support from black voters. The state Democratic Party chair citing the former vice president's decades-long ties to South Carolina.
The Democrats and suburban white voters and African Americans in our state voted pragmatically and strategically with their head.
By the time Biden had claimed victory, his opponents had already shifted their efforts to Super Tuesday states. Senator Bernie Sanders finished second in South Carolina while packing crowds in Massachusetts and Virginia.
There are a lot of states in this country. Nobody wins them all. I want to congratulate Joe Biden on his victory tonight. And now we enter Super Tuesday in Virginia.
And other down-ballot candidates leaving the Palmetto State still hopeful they can find momentum before it's too late.
We are going to stun the world.
We are going to be going into the Super Tuesday states of a state like Colorado or a state like Virginia strong.
But not every campaign is moving on to Super Tuesday. Billionaire businessman Tom Steyer had his strongest finish yet in South Carolina, but ended his campaign Saturday night. By Tuesday, 40% of the delegates in this race will have been awarded. Biden is now up there with Senator Bernie Sanders in the current delegate rankings, but Sanders is leading in several key Super Tuesday states. Trevor Ault, ABC News, Columbia, South Carolina.
Trevor, thank you. Now to your Storm Team 6 forecast. We're taking a live look outside from our IMS Pagoda camera on this Saturday night, and it was overall a decent day outside today, Kyle. We saw the sunshine, and the car washes sure were busy today.
Yeah, I went through one of those, waited in line for a little bit, but yeah, this time of year, the sunshine making all the difference, and our average high continues to climb. Our actual high just hasn't been doing that. It will tomorrow. Let's take you back outside, and those temperatures, they're chilly tonight. We're at 30 right now in Martinsville, 28 in Indy, and 24 degrees in Bloomington. So tonight, temperatures I don't think are going to drop too much more from where they are because we've got that light south wind out there. Middle to lower 20s, but it's certainly better than the teens that we've had the last couple of mornings. And TrueCast shows that we will start off our Sunday with some sunshine here. As the day goes along, I think we will have a little more in the way of some cloud cover, certainly by tomorrow evening. But notice, right on through 8 o'clock tomorrow night, we're not going to see any rain here. So it is going to be a dry day once again for any of your errands and maybe just spending some time outside because those numbers are going to rise pretty quickly here. 47 at noon, and we'll get those numbers into the middle 50s across much of central Indiana. About 57 calling for the afternoon high in the city, and even some lower 60s not out of the question. Bloomington and Columbus at 61, so really turning the table here as we go into the new month of March. TrueCast. Here's a look as we go into tomorrow night, and you can see that rain starting to increase in coverage, especially during the overnight and into our Monday morning. Looks like Monday morning's drive and the kids heading off to school are going to need that umbrella because we will have the wet weather there. But this is a pretty quick moving system. By noon, we're already starting to see those showers tapering off and even a little bit of clearing back behind that. So it's been a very soggy month of February. We don't need any more rain. Fortunately, we're not going to get a whole lot out of the system. You can see the models generally coming in about 1/3 of an inch or less here as we go Sunday night and through the day on Monday. 7-day planning forecast, put it all together for you, and there's a few more showers in the Tuesday forecast, but we are going to keep numbers very mild. Highs that will be in the 50s, even close to 60 degrees on Thursday. The overnights, they're certainly not going to be as cold either, as we'll be in the 30s and even some 40s out there. Next weekend, things do cool down a little bit, but right now it looks like we'll continue with a dry stretch of weather. So overall, March coming in a little more like a lamb, not a whole lot of rain coming our way and the roar of a lion there.
It seems like a repeat of last weekend because it was so nice, and then Monday in time for our weekend, rainy.
The rain returns, yeah.
Why?
But at least it'll stay warm this time.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Well, something new and much needed. More colleges are adding food banks, but there can be a stigma surrounding them. Up next, the innovative way one school is changing that.
9 a.m. to 9 p.m. at Ashley Home Store.
If you live in Indianapolis and are looking for a new job, experts say you're in the right place. Job site Glassdoor.com looked at job openings across the country. They found mid-sized cities like Indy had the most available jobs. Raleigh, North Carolina topped the list, followed by Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and Memphis. Glassdoor says many of these cities are growing tech hubs. They also offer lower costs of living than places like San Francisco and New York. It's a sad fact that everyday people go hungry in this country, but what may surprise you is where that is happening on college campuses. Maya Rodriguez shows us an innovative way one university is reinventing what it means to go to a food pantry and trying to eliminate the stigma that comes with it.
That was nice. Nestled away on this college campus sits a student lounge unlike any you'll find at a typical college.
You're thinking someplace you can relax, you know, someplace you can kind of just
let your hair down for a moment.
Christina Beckton is a nursing student here at Bowie State University in Maryland.
There is certainly a financial constraint being in college.
And on more than one occasion, she's found herself hungry and here at the university's new nutritional lounge. It's a place where students can come and get food they can't afford. Inside, there's comfy seating, a flat screen TV, and a jar for suggestions of food students would like to see featured on the shelves. But you won't see the words food pantry anywhere around here for one main reason.
There is a stigma, and we want the students to know that we're here to support them. We want to make sure that, they don't feel that any sense of shame.
Dr. Aminta Bro is president of Bowie State, Maryland's first historically black college and university. She says most of their 6,100 students are commuter students. Many work while going to school. But still, hunger abounds, according to a survey by the Hope Center for College, Community, and Justice.
A recent study at 123 college campuses around the country found that 45% of those surveyed said they had gone hungry in the last 30 days. It's a situation that school administrators say is both heartbreaking and unacceptable.
Unless we get the word out as we are now, I don't think we'll be able to adequately address this issue.
Back at the lounge, food donations arrive from alumni, along with weekly donations from a local Food Lion supermarket and the Capital Area Food Bank.
Yeah, so definitely peanut butter. I have come in here and gotten oatmeal.
Donations that are making a difference in Christina's last few months of college.
This is my senior year. I'll be graduating in May. Thank you.
A helping hand before she and fellow students set out on their own. In Prince George's County, Maryland, I'm Maya Rodriguez reporting.
Visit ChooseYourChevy.com.
It takes your breath away. Today I had a costume on. It was big and bulky, so it got wet and heavy, and it took me that extra second to get my breath finally.
Well, the sun was shining today, but it wasn't exactly warm enough to swim, but that sure didn't stop more than 100 Special Olympics supporters from jumping into the water for the Greenwood Polar Plunge. Money raised from this signature event directly benefits more than 18,000 Special Olympics athletes throughout Indiana. It allows children and adults with intellectual disabilities to continue to benefit from no-cost participation in sports and other programs that Special Olympics Indiana offers. We talked to one man who is considered a super plunger. He's been taking the plunge for 14 years.
That's the most gratifying part. When you get to see where these funds go, when you get to help pay for some athletes who wouldn't otherwise be able to be included in some type of sporting events, and you see that pays for medals, trophies, equipment, coaching, training. Those are types of things that you really feel like, man, we're doing something great for such a great cause. That's why we're freezing for a reason.
Special Olympics isn't just about sports. It's more. It's about family and the friendships and all the bonds that you build with each other as an athlete. And as a participant in sports, I think it's important for us to be as a family.
This is just the second year for the Polar Plunge in Greenwood, and today they raise $39,000. Next weekend finishes out the Polar Plunge season with the Community Plunge Day on Saturday at Eagle Creek. Well, if it wasn't warm enough to swim today, it definitely was too cold to run through downtown in your underwear, but that happened today as well. Take a look at this. Hundreds of people braved the weather to run in the Cupid's Undie Run. The run was about a mile long. It started at the Tap on Delaware Street, but this wasn't all about having fun. Each runner helped raise money that funds research through the Children's Tumor Foundation. The goal of the research is to find a cure for neurofibromatosis, a genetic tumor disorder that affects 1 in every 3,000 births. The reason why they run in their undies is because those affected with NF can't cover up their tumors to feel more comfortable, so participants say, why should we? We talked to one mother who has a daughter with NF. Her group helped raise over $20,000 for research.
We don't have a lot of options for these kiddos and these people that are diagnosed with NF, and so we need to find a cure, and that's what this event brings, is the money that we need to try to find a cure for NF through Children's Tumor Foundation.
It was a great run. It's just kind of something like body positivity, confidence, because people with that disease can get tumors outside of their body, and it's just kind of something that shows that we support them and just being comfortable in your own skin.
Today's event helped raise over $40,000 that will go directly to find a cure for NF, and at least they had some sunshine.
Yeah, they had some sunshine. Tomorrow we get the warmer temperatures. Probably still not warm enough to be out there running around in your underwear. But as we get into Monday, that's when rain returns. At least we're going to hold on to those warmer temperatures the next several days with highs in the 50s.
All right, Kyle, thank you. You have a good night. Thanks for joining us.